shakhsi ahaantayda waxaan u arkaa arrintaas markii ugu horeysay oo aan maqlay waxay igu abuurtay markii ugu horeysay oo aan maqlay ama idaacadaha aan ka maqlay ama dadkii aan bulshada isla nooleen aan ka maqlay waxay igu abuurtay argagax
marka maxaa dhibku weyn waa madax inuu madax aan qaadan karin 4 sano jira ma qaadan karo madaxi ma gadoomi karto waa gabar
cabsideedu u weyn waxay tahay repatriation hadda la sheegayaba ko waxaan uga cabsanayaa noloshaan ka soo maran ogaa wadankaani tii soo martay oo kale inta xumo gaajo daryeel la'aan rafaad dil iyo kufsi inta way dhacdaa wayna soo martay hore ii soo martay
Kenya's government has disbanded the Department of Refugee Affairs. The move is meant to pave the way for the closure of the Dadaab refugee camps. Now, authorities say Kenya shoulders a, quote, very heavy economic, security and environmental burden by hosting refugees. Government says the decision will have an adverse effect on the lives of refugees, but asked the international community to back the move.
From the day the announcement was made, MSF has appealed to the Kenyan government to come back on its decision. And so we've asked to the refugees how they feel about it. And for a large majority, almost 85% of them in the Dagahali camp, it is not an option to return to Somalia.
25 years ago, when the first Somalis began crossing the border, fleeing deadly conflict in their country, the Dadaab refugee camps in northeastern Kenya were born. They are today the largest refugee camp complex in the world. MSF arrived in August 1992, providing vaccination, opening up feeding centres, an emergency and casualty department, and 8 health posts. Over the years, our doctors and nurses have delivered vital assistance during numerous outbreaks of disease, such as cholera, meningitis and malaria, and during major malnutrition crises. When severe drought hit the southern part of Somalia in 2010, thousands more fled to Dadaab, and the population rose to almost 500,000. Teams expanded the capacity of hospitals, opened new feeding centres, provided water trucking and distributed food.
The present situation of the camp, I can describe it as a humanitarian emergency, with the fact that large number of people living outside of the camp with no proper security, no proper shelter, no adequate water, no sanitation, and with no clear future whether they are staying here or will be moved to another place.
Even after security deteriorated, and when 2 MSF staff were kidnapped, we continued to stand with refugees and provide life-saving assistance. MSF also advocated for the improvement of living conditions in the camps, for increased humanitarian assistance, or for refugees' rights to flee. A quarter of a century later, forcibly returning refugees to Somalia cannot be the only option. Lives are at risk.
We know it is not heaven, but it's better than Somalia. However small they are, there is healthcare, there is school for their children, there is other social amenities like food distribution. Basically, you cannot compare the Dadaab refugee camp services to Somalia.
waxay ani shakhsi ahaantayda waxay ugu abuurtay argagax cabsi iyo walwal fara badan in Soomaali xilligan aynan amni ahayn uusan ka jirin dhammaan asaaskii bini'aadanimo maxaa la haday tahay biyo haday tahay guryeyn haday tahay caafimaad kama jiro haduu yahay primary haduu yahay secondary and tertiary saddexdaba haduu yahay kama jirto marka inta badan qaxootigii imaaday 1992 waa ila mid ama iga sii liitaan.
We have patients with chronic medical illnesses. We are talking about diabetics, hypertensives, and patients with mental health conditions, patients with TB, HIV. So all these patients require continuity of care. So when they return to Somalia, will they get the continuity of care? We are talking about 800 patients with diabetes and hypertension who are being followed up in our camp alone. And one of my biggest worries as a health practitioner is what will happen to these patients when they go back to Somalia? What kind of health structure exists there?
dareenkayga waa isbedel saxan haweenkiina masaxda maalintiina masaxay sababtoo meesha lii celinayo daawo igu mariso taada kalena nabadgelina meesha ma taalo habeenkiina murugaan ku saxda habeen walbo annaga dadkeena diabetiga u sii xun raantii walba habeenkii walbahaar iyo walbalaw iyo walbahaar iyo waxaan ku saxanaa iyo walwal habeen ku saxanaa.
We want to know the fate of these people. These are our patients. These are people we treat, we interact, and we have been with them for over years. But we want to know what is going to happen in Dadaab after the closure of these camps. Where will this population go? Who is going to support them? We cannot witness risking the life of thousands of people because somebody has made a decision to close the camps. It is going to be a disaster.